Welcome to Updog Sports Talk. We are a sports show that likes to talk about sports differently. We got into this game because we got tired of the larger media networks focusing only on a few teams. Obviously only focusing on the Chiefs and the Cowboys in the NFL, and only focusing on about 10 of the 136 college football teams. So we decided to get into this. Hope you enjoy the show. I am your host tonight, Justin. This is a change from usual. Matt is usually your host, but he had to take tonight off due to issues at home with his house. I am joined by intern Tony and our special guest, Quesostream. Welcome to the show, guys.
What up? Happy to be here.
Good to be back in the saddle.
Tonight, we will be talking about the AFC West. This is part of our ongoing NFL preview series where we are previewing and making predictions for all 32 NFL teams. So while, yes, we are talking about the Kansas City Chiefs tonight, we will also be giving the same amount of coverage to maybe more coverage because we got a Raiders fan on the show to the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers as well. So we're going to kick this thing off with the Las Vegas Raiders. They finished last in division last year. Sorry, Queso, but things are looking maybe a little bit better. They hired Pete Carroll. Tom Brady's in ownership, so things are looking up a little bit. Walk us through some of the offseason moves. What kind of strategy did the Raiders deploy this offseason?
Well, they decided to hire a new coach, which I was initially concerned, but if there's one thing Pete Carroll's good at, it's, even though he's very much on the older side, he's very good at getting, excuse me, he's very good at getting motivation out of his younger players, and just all around nice guy. And we've got a new backfield. Hopefully we can turn everything around. Defense looks at least decent this season. We'll see how that transforms on the field, though.
One of the things that I was surprised about that I didn't realize is Chip Kelly. He's in as the OC.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how he follows his stint up at in Columbus.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a very interesting pickup. I like some of the news. Geno Smith is now their quarterback, so clearly Pete Carroll likes him because he wanted to bring him with. And you look at the linebackers; they really revamped this room with former Cincinnati Bengal Jermaine Pratt. Kind of ironic because he ended up with the interception to beat the Raiders in the playoffs a few years ago. Now he's with the Raiders. Landon Roberts. Devin White is here too. We'll see how much he has left in the tank. But overall, it looks like a higher focus on defense with kind of just a few strategic moves here on offense a little bit. So with that being said, let's kind of pivot over here to the draft. And I know, Queso, you probably have a lot of good thoughts on a few of the guys the Raiders took this year.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, personally, me, I was super shocked whenever they picked Jeanty. I was like, they're not going to take him. First off, I didn't think he's going to fall that far. Not that 6 is far or anything. But at the same time, I'm like, nah, even going into the draft, I'm like, they're going to pick a receiver. McMillan was one. I even was okay with Burden from Missouri. But then when I heard Ashton Jeanty, I'm like, what? So it shocked me. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good pick because the backfield isn't as good as we'd like for it to be currently. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the NFL. See if he can put some more people on their asses.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, absolutely.
And I won't forget too. I can't remember his name now because it's break. Wide receiver from TCU they drafted in the second round. Good
Beck.
pickup there. Yeah, Beck. That's right. I'm over here. I know it's B, but but I was especially I was not necessarily shocked, but good picks in the 7th round with the Montana State quarterback and North Dakota State quarterback too. And of course, I'm blanking on their names, but I was like, yeah, FCS, let's go.
Yeah, almost like back-to-back picks too. Cam Miller from North Dakota State, Tommy Millott from Montana State. Millott is an interesting one to me. Like he could be, that kind of Taysom Hill kind of threat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I see him. He's currently listed on the depth chart as a receiver, so I'm very interested to see how they end up using him.
My guess is like special teams and then utility, pretty much like Taysom Hill. But that'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch.
They also added some O-line depth too, a tackle and a guard, which as a Bengals fan, we haven't hit on ours necessarily, but we understand the value of having good ones.
Yep, sometimes the best way to understand that value is to not have it at all. Yeah, but I really like what the Raiders are doing on the offensive line. Like they've really hit the position hard here in the last few years, and it's been a weakness for a long time before that. So I know Queso too understands the value of it because of a lack thereof for a little bit, but they've definitely done a lot to turn it around now. And they took a corner as well. Porter, got him. He was from Iowa State, played very well there. Looks like he's set to potentially take on a starting spot as well. So we've seen the Raiders kind of pick up their game here at the draft lately. So I'm very excited to see what this class does. But that kind of transitioned us. Queso is a Raiders fan. Like, what positions kind of get you the most worried?
Quarterback. I'm not saying Geno Smith isn't good, not saying he can't do the job, but he has had his ups and downs. Luckily, in Seattle, it was mostly ups. But as we all know, his time with the Jets wasn't that great. Not all his fault either, but he also, yeah, and having his coach from Seattle with him, I think it could work out well. But that one is a worry because I was expecting like a quarterback before Geno was signed. I was expecting a quarterback myself.
While we wait for him to get reconnected.
Brock Bowers played such a big role for them last year. He's really kind of their main threat. I think with Jeanty being, in the saddle, that'll hopefully allow some more, some more of the passing game to develop. I think they're kind of missing, that wide receiver, like that wide receiver one depth. I don't know if Jacoby Myers or, Trey Tucker or, Dante Thornton. I don't know if they'll take the step forward this year, and be that role. We know that Brock did last year, but who's going to step up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting position for me as well. I kind of look at it the same way where, Jacoby Myers, he's reliable. You definitely won't see this team line up outside of two tight ends very often because they've got a good running back. They got Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. So, there's still rumors that Michael Mayer may get traded. Who knows? Maybe by the time this video posts that happens. But yeah, like that I think is a strength. Well, yeah, tight end is, but yeah, receiver. Maybe you get something out of one of these rookies, but otherwise, Geno's not having a lot to throw to here.
No, they're definitely gonna be relying on him, as the engine, or maybe it's Jeanty that they're leaning on, and then he's just gonna play second fiddle. We'll see. Yeah. It's been a while since we've had a standout running back that just takes over the league.
Yeah,
and those are always fun to watch.
Yeah, and you look on the defensive side, I like what they did to kind of address linebacker, but this is the Raiders. I think we're used to seeing the secondary kind of be a bit of a challenge for them. And while they've addressed some positions, I still think the secondary is what you would call a work in progress, if you will. I would say.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting season for them, especially with Pete Carroll. He's getting up there, dude. He has to be the oldest coach in the league, right?
Yeah, I know, and he's a first-year head coach of this team.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's trying to take them back to their glory days. I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to make them relevant at this point. But they'll be an interesting team to watch for sure.
Yeah, and we'll go on to let's talk about some strengths here while we see if Queso can get disconnected. Maybe he can touch on a few more things when he gets back on. But yeah, what do you look at and what's most intimidating about the Raiders? You would say.
I think the run game again, because we don't know how that's going to translate for Jeanty in the NFL. We've seen this script play out. Zeke, all kind. Barkley, pretty much every running back probably has really that was doing well in college came in and did well in the NFL as well. So I think that's going to be that might be their defining player and kind of the cornerstone of their program. I could be wrong, but that's when I see them taking the potential Heisman nominee, runner up, that's they're definitely investing. I would have taken them too.
Yeah. So, Queso, catching up here, we expressed concern about the receivers and the secondary as well. Well, to wrap up the weaknesses, was there anything else you're kind of worried about as a Raiders fan? If not, then you can go ahead and jump to one of the other positions that maybe excites you as a Raiders fan.
Let's see. Honestly, it will. Secondary can be an issue for sure. Well, especially with the young guys coming in, and with how bad they were in general last year. It's like being a Texas A&M fan. Defensive line's fantastic. The secondary can't cover with crap. So we'll see how that transitions this year. As for excited positions, obviously Jeanty's probably is the obvious answer. But man, I'm always stoked to watch Max Crosby play. I even follow him on social media. The dude's really down to earth guy. He's really cool, and he's just dominant. I love it. And then his trash talking's hilarious too.
He's becoming one of my favorite players in the NFL just because he's like that kind of heel kind of player a little bit because he trash talks quarterbacks of tries to get under Mahomes' skin and all that, but also like the fact that he's a former Eastern Michigan, former Maction grad, and is very passionate about helping his university as an assistant GM role there now, and is doing all sorts of stuff to help promote Eastern Michigan football. So I think that's a pretty cool thing that he's doing as well in the offseason. And he's joined on the defensive line by another Maction star, Malcolm Kuntz out of Buffalo. So you guys got a lot of Maction flavor on the defensive line. It's a strong one. You got Christian Wilkins there too. So this is a group of dogs up front.
Yeah, good leadership to show the young guys how to do it right. Because Wilkins has always been at least really good. good leadership in the locker room for sure.
Yeah, and really, Wilkins is another guy who will try to get under a quarterback's skin. So this is a group that no quarterback looks forward to playing each week.
Yeah.
Tony, I know you got to kind of touch on Jeanty a little bit as one of the strengths. Is there anything else you're kind of looking at as one of the top things the Raiders have?
I think I tend to lean more offensively. Brock Bowers, he kind of set the league on fire last year. If he could do that level or even a little more, we could really be, he could really make an impact on the league. He could be, the new Kittle or what's his face in KC. Kelsey.
Kelsey,
yeah.
we'll be talking about him a little bit later. But yeah, I agree with that. And, I like Brock Bowers a lot because he helped me get this last year.
Begrudgingly gifted by yours truly.
I gotta say, I heard Tone say "we." I don't know. Are you becoming a Raiders fan now?
No. I didn't mean to say we.
That's the show tonight. Great show, guys. Thank you for helping join us, and filling in for Matt's absence. Matt, we have missed you. We look forward to you back on the next episode. But where you can find us at Updog Sports Talk. That is on all channels. We are very active on Twitter. We are on Facebook for the boomers, Instagram, bunch of other apps as well, whatever.
TikTok, YouTube.
Yep. Obviously, our shows are on YouTube. That's probably where you're seeing us. But, if you don't want to see our faces, I know I have a face for radio. We are available on Spotify, on Google Podcast, on iHeart, on Google something or another as well. Although wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. So, I think on a show we were on recently, they said if you haven't found us, you aren't looking hard enough. So I'll take that to heart and say, yeah, go ahead and find us, and we'll continue to talk a lot of fun sports talk. See you next time, everybody.